All right, so this morning we're going to do flow for stomach and spleen meridians. Tuesday we did liver, so this one runs along the tops of the legs, the stomach meridian running down, basically the center of your leg. Good morning, John. And the spleen meridian runs just to the inside of it, so just along the inner leg and enters the body of the groin. Stomach meridian comes out of the body near the front of the hip joint, so anytime we do any kind of pulling or stressing along there, that's another spot we can get trigger points. As always, we'll come to a comfortable cross-legged seat. Good idea to sit your sit bones just on the edge of maybe a rolled up quilt, giving yourself that little lift to the hips, and one foot in front of the other. You can always lie back if you feel so inclined and have your knees resting together. Just 1 second, I gotta grab a Kleenex. Your hands can be on your lap, in your lap, on your belly. If you're lying back, maybe by your sides if you're lying back, palms up or down, it doesn't matter. If you're seated, they can be on your thighs, palms up or down. If you're lying back, it's nice to have one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart. Shrug your shoulders up to your ears, and then let them slide down your back, away from your ears, and tuck your chin in slightly, feeling how that lengthens the back of the neck. And letting your eyes fall softly shut if you haven't already done so. Just settling into your room, onto your mat, into the space you've created for your yoga. So let go of your morning thus far. Let go of today, whatever's on the list of things to do. Let this next hour be just for you, your body, but also your mind and your spirit. Feel the earth beneath you. Feel rooted, grounded. Feel that stability we get from our earth. Bring your mind's eye to the skies above, noticing how you feel slightly uplifted when you bring your attention there. There's a lightness to your being, yet you're still rooted to the earth. And then start to pay attention to your breath. Don't change anything, just notice it. Whereabouts in your chest cavity are you breathing? How fast are you breathing? Are you breathing through your nose or your mouth or a bit of both? So start to breathe in and out through your nose. Pull the air in past the rings of the nostrils. Trace it up your nose, down your throat, into your lungs, and then back out that same pathway. Feel that swirl past the rings of the nostrils as the breath exits the body. Notice the difference in temperature there, right at the rings of the nostrils. The coolness as the air swirls in, the warmth as it swirls back out. Notice your breath slowing down, deepening and lengthening. Let it happen naturally. And just before we start the evening out, this is another way to work into that. So on an inhale, drop your left ear to your left shoulder. Exhale, bring your head back to the center. Inhale over to the right. Exhale back to the center. Again, inhale left. Exhale center. Inhale over to the right. Exhale center. One more time on your own. Once you're back to center, start to even out the inhales and exhales. They probably are now. But put a count or use the mantra to your inhale. Same steady count on the exhale. Or saying that little phrase, that little mantra. I am breathing in. I am breathing out. Matching the phrases to your inhales and your exhales. Pay attention to now, keeping going with the counting or the mantra. Pay attention to how your rib cage moves, that expansion in the fronts, backs, sides. Watch it contract on an exhale. Go deeper and look at your lungs. Feel them expand in those same four directions, the fronts, the backs, the sides. See them in your mind's eye, turning a rosy, glowing pink on your inhale. Slightly blue on your exhale. Just take a couple, 3 more breaths. Set your intention while you're here. And then coming back. If you are on your back, make your way to one side. Blink your eyes open and closed a few times. Lift your knees. Straighten them out. Give them a little bounce. Maybe a rock from the top of the hips. Point and flex. Just waking them up a little bit. If you're on your back, then slowly make your way up onto all fours. We're going to start off with child's pose this morning. Remember, you can have your little quilt under your knees if you want for a little bit extra padding. So you come into child's pose. If you can sit on your bum, great. Stack your fists, maybe make a pillow for your forehead, or stack your hands and make a pillow for your forehead. If your forehead comes down to your mat, that's okay too. You can have your hands folded by your sides, or if it feels better to have them in front of you like so, then that's okay too. If you're having trouble getting your bum onto your heels, then sit on a block. Always helpful for the knees, because quite often that's intense for some people's knees. So sit on a block, and that'll keep the knee joint open a little bit more. It's okay if your bum does pop up into the air a little bit. Ideally, we want to relax our legs as much as we can. You can use that block under your forehead if you want, and then have your arms wherever feels good for you. Ideally, we want to have our ribs on our thighs so that we can feel our belly on our thighs, getting a nice little compression there through the abdomen. And we're also getting compression in the front of the hip joint with a fairly intense forward bend here that we're doing. But remember, just come to your edge. That's the first principle. Just that finding that place of a comfortable discomfort. So a little bit of tugging, a little bit of pressure in various areas. Probably feeling your ankles here.
once you've established that edge that you're at, then be still there. That's the second tattva or principle. Try not to back away from the tugging sensations, the pressure. If there's pain, then definitely you come back out. Never stay with any kind of pain. And the other part of the stillness is that inner stillness, trying to stay present within your body, observing what's going on, what you're feeling, without getting involved in it though, just kind of observing, noticing when subtle changes happen. Maybe that edge dissipates and you can go a little further. So the edge is not a stagnant thing, but there is a stillness to yin. It's very meditative. And the third principle, there's only three, is this holding that we do. We hold poses for minutes, longer than any other forms of yoga. And we have our muscles soft as much as possible, so we can get at the white fascia in our bodies, the connective tissue, ligaments, tendons, films and sheets of fascia that encase organs and muscles, threads and fibers of fascia that run near the surface of the skin and deep in the body. On your next inhale, you're going to slowly come forward onto your tummies. Just ease your way down. Put your elbows out to the side, stack your hands, and just lie there just for a moment. Enjoying that release through the hip joints, the ankles, maybe the knees. You can feel that warmth as the blood flows into those areas. And then from here we'll come to Sphinx pose. This is where you have your elbows underneath your shoulders. You're up on your forearms, kid watching TV pose. If that's too much for your back, remember, just put your ribs back down on your mat and put your hands under your shoulders, and your nose is just a few inches above your mat, so that's totally fine as well. Your legs are straight, nice and relaxed. Tops of your feet on the mat. Try to relax your bum as much as you can and your legs. They'll want to help lift you in some cases, but the more you can relax them, the more the work will go into the back and the sensation into the low back. This is very good for disc issues, this pose. Helps to realign the disc between the vertebrae. Your head is wherever feels natural. You can have it in line with your spine. Maybe you're looking about 1 meter in front of you. Maybe you are looking down in between your hands and that feels best for your head. Some of you might like to just let it drop. Feel that nice stretch you get on the back of the neck. And that's fine too. Whatever feels right for your body. And if you're finding that you'd like a little more of a back bend, then you have a couple of options. You can open the legs, and that'll increase it. So you might want to try that first and see how that sensation feels. Or bring the legs closer together and let the feet float up into the air. You can also put a slight pressure in your elbows. You don't want to work muscles too much here, but a little bit so we get that sensation in the low back. Breathing in, listen to your breath, same steady count, or using that mantra as we did in the beginning. And it's effortless to keep those feet up into the air. Find that sweet spot where they just kind of float there. stomach meridian begins at the side of our nose. So in Yin we do acupressure as well as work on the connective tissues. And as I said, today's flow is for stomach and spleen. From here, if you want to take this in a little deeper, you can come into seal pose. I'd suggest you drop your legs down to the mat first if you were having them float up, and then turn your hands out to the side so your fingers are pointed to the side edge of your mat, and straighten into your arms so you're coming up higher. You'll notice there's maybe more sensation in the front now along the belly, lower abdomen. You also might notice this is more intense in the front of the hip joint, coming into a higher back bend. And you can rise up out of the shoulders. So putting a little bit of work into the arms here, or you can drape into the shoulder girdle. Either one is acceptable. So pick one, try them both for a few breaths, and then stay with one that you think does what you need it to do. And if you'd like, you can still float your feet up into the air again in this pose. Remember, your breath is your guide. It'll let you know if you're in too deep, if you can't breathe calmly and steadily. If you want to bring it into the neck vertebrae, if your neck is okay, do this safely. Tuck your chin first so you feel that length in the back, and then imagine there's a tennis ball there and you're going up and over. Lift your chin up to the ceiling. If there's any kind of dizziness starts to happen, then bring your head back down. If there's any kind of pain, bring your head back down. This is great for the front of our neck, but it also stimulates the thyroid gland. Take one last inhale, and then slowly come all the way down on the exhale. Common to feel a little bit broken after that was a 5-minute hold. Once you get down, puff your low back out with your breath. That'll help to release it. Set your forehead or your head on one side on your stacked hands. It doesn't matter if you're looking to one side, whatever side that is. Pull that same knee up alongside of you so you're lying with one bent and one straight. Or else lift both of your feet up into the air and do windshield wipers back and forth. Sometimes it feels good to have that motion across the pelvis and low back after those longer holds. Just noticing what you're feeling, but letting those feelings ebb. So that was a nice one for the front of the hip joint, but also mainly our backs, and that charged up some kidney chi, which is helpful for supporting all of the other meridians. Anytime we can strengthen our kidney chi is a good thing to do. Let your leg or legs float back on down. We're going to push up onto all fours. Might feel good to do a couple of cat-cows here. So arching your back like a cat. Drop your head, look for your belly button. Go for the opposite way. Spread the sit bones, drop the belly, look up. Just going through one or two more here. Ending with a flat back when you're ready. And then we go into saddle pose here. Saddle pose is the one where you sit between your heels. You can always sit on them if you prefer, or you can sit on a block as helps the knees quite a bit better, and then lean back. If this still isn't working for your knees, do one leg at a time. So pull in your left leg, and if you find that you're quite crooked when you do that, then sit your sit bones on a block again as well, so you're raised up a bit, and then it should be a lot easier and less pressure on your knee. This is nice for the ankle here, great, because the stomach meridian, spleen meridian runs right through the top of the ankle there, so we're hitting some more trigger points. All right, so once you've figured out, set up how you're going to do this. If you're going to do one leg at a time, know that I'll give you the halfway point so that you can switch legs. If you've got two legs, both your legs bent, then you won't move when we do the halfway point. We're here for 4 minutes, so we'll do 2 minutes aside. So those of you with legs, both legs bent, might be here for about 4 minutes, 15 seconds or so while we switch legs. So you can increase this now by leaning back. Try not to collapse. Try to keep your heart lifted. You can look forward or you can look up as you like, and you'll notice how this starts to pull a little bit more right down the centers of the quads. It's a great one for the stomach meridian. It's basically runner's stretch as well, but 2 legs at a time, or maybe 1 leg at a time. If you can go back further, then go back further onto your elbows perhaps. And again, if this is where you stay for the duration, your head can stay forward if that feels good, or you can let it dangle backwards. And some of you will go further yet. If you know that you go all the way down, a block is really handy under your shoulder blades here, and that'll help keep that lift in your chest as well. So easing back, just take your time. If you go back down quite easily, not as important to go back in stages, but just staying with that tugging sensation, remember. So you've got your heart lifted, your head can be back, arms can be by your sides, it can be out in a T, maybe even like them over your head or towards in that direction. Listen to your breath, steady breathing in through the nose, back out through the nose. And we're at the 2-minute mark already with our first leg. So if you're doing one leg at a time, slowly come up and then switch legs. If you've got both your legs bent, just stay where you are. All right, so the stomach meridian I was saying about beginning at the side of the nose. And it ends in the second toe. From the side of the nose, I'm not going into all the detail because it's mainly internal, but it surfaces around, after it's connected with the stomach and the spleen, it surfaces at the front of the hip joint and then runs, as I've said, down the center of the quad, right through the center of your knee, along your shin. So this is another one to stimulate those trigger points with the pressure along your shin, into your mat, the top of your ankle, and as I said, ending at the second toe. And the spleen meridian begins at the big toe, and it runs just along the inside of the stomach meridian. So not complete inner leg, but just kind of halfway between the inner leg and the center of the leg. It goes internal at the groin, and then it rises through your torso, ending in the root of your tongue. So the legs is the main way to stimulate these two meridian lines. And just a couple more breaths here. And now if you are with both legs bent, and if you've got one leg bent, you'll want to come out with both legs bent. Use your core here, so pull your bottom rib into your into your pelvis and push into those arms to help yourself back up. Come forward again onto all fours and just stay still. Again, you'll notice lots of sensation in your low back, probably through your legs. And just take the time to notice that and enjoy that release, knowing how much good you're doing for those areas where you've constricted the blood flow and now released it into there. That removes toxins, much like massage therapy. And then whatever you feel you need here, if you want to do some cat-cows, if you need to sink back to a child's pose. Sometimes it feels good to move the hips in a circular motion, so trace that imaginary circle on your mat. And when you're ready, either crossing at the ankles, rolling over to come to a seated position, or move those ankles to one side and come to a seated position. This next one can be an aggravator of sciatica, but it also can help the knees if you sit on the edge of that rolled up quilt. So that can help for sciatica issues as well. So we'll start with our legs straight, and we're going to fold in, fold in your left leg, left one is first, and see if you can stack the knee on top of the bottom knee. If there's a big gap here, then put a block either between the knees, or maybe it feels good to have the block under the thigh here so this top leg can relax. If your knees are together, and this is what we want to do, we want to try to figure that, imagine like we're sitting in a chair with our knees together, except instead of the left limb being down, it's folding up, so it gets this rotation into the hip. No pain on the knee here, so prop whatever you need to do to support that knee. If both knees are together, lean back and tuck in the bottom knee as well. Again, easy does it. Watch for no knee pain. If that causes the top knee to pop up a fair bit, then put a prop between the knees. If it's up quite high to your chin, then I'd stay with the bottom leg straight. Okay. We'll do a little bit of different things here. First of all, we'll have a twist. So we'll go over to the left. Everything's always to the left when we do a stomach and spleen flow. So use your right arm above your knee, just on your thigh. Take your left arm, wrap it behind your waist, or keep it the palm on your mat behind you. Keep it straight, whatever feels good for your arms. And then relax them. So we're not pushing ourselves around, we're just relaxing. And you can experiment with the difference in that if you like. Push with your arms, look over that left shoulder if that's okay for your neck. And so you are using your arm muscles. And then relax those arms. Relax your legs. Do you feel that subtle shift, difference in what's happened with relaxing the muscles? Maybe feel it a little more into the pelvic area, maybe more into the spine itself when the legs relax. Anytime we can twist as well, it's good for those inner organs to give them a little bit of a squeeze like this too. Because again, it constricts some of the blood flow. Good stimulation for them as well. A little bit of squeezing helps for digestion. And then when we unwind, we get that fresh supply of oxygenated blood flowing through there. Relax your shoulders, check in with your jaw, nice and soft. Inhale your way back to the center. And then here we do a side bend. So walk your left hand out and think about your left ear. Drop it to your left shoulder. This right arm can just rest in your lap if you like, or you can wrap it behind. That would be your right arm, I think. I said wrap it behind your waist. Here, if you have a block, you might find that it's available to rest your forearm on, and you can feel that nice kind of zigzaggy stretch up the side. And just stay here for a minute. Some of you might find that you can go right to your mat. A little bit of work on the gallbladder meridian with this variation. And then come back up. Just stay a minute there. Exhale. And then we'll come forward. Easy does it over the knees here. You don't want to put pressure on them. You can put a little pressure into your hands and push back slightly. That'll keep the pressure off your knees. This makes it quite intense in the hips by leaning forward. So just easy does it. Our thought for this morning comes from the Rig Veda, which is the holy book for the Hindu religion. And it states, resolutely follow and affirm your intentions, for they line the path that enables you to overcome all trials, tribulations, and suffering. Following and affirming your intentions is the true path that leads to genuine happiness. And on an inhale, slowly come back up. Exhale, and you get all the way up. Undo your legs. And just lean back on your hands for a moment to enjoy that release through the legs as well as the back. When it feels right for you, maybe straightening them, giving them a bounce and a rock. Point and flex if need be. Sometimes pressing through the heels feels really good to release the knees as well after that pose. And then we'll do the other side. So fold in your right leg on top, bringing it across, stack the knees. Again, probably if you did full shoelace on the first side, this side is there, but everybody's different. Sometimes one knee is not so happy, so you might want to do half shoelace on this side. Keep your bottom leg straight. We'll start off with the twist. So going over to the right this time. Your left arm is just above your knee. Wrap your right arm behind you, looking over that right shoulder. If you think of your chin going over that shoulder, that'll help bring your neck around. But if it bothers you, then just leave your head neutral. And remember, you can always try that little experiment where you do push yourself around a little bit. Take a breath or two there, notice the sensations, and then relax your arms. Find the yin side of the twist. So in order to strengthen our stomach chi, a lot of what we put into our stomach determines that. So of course we always want to try to have a healthy, balanced diet. And the stomach's job, once it takes the ingested foods and liquids, is to sort them. So purer elements get sent to the spleen. Elements or ingested foods that need a little more work for breaking down get sent to the small intestine. So Taoist thinking is just a little different than Western medicine. But I like to say that thinking of the stomach having a job as the sorter kind of shows you more of the whole body aspect then, that there's stomach chi, stomach energy in our brain. Everywhere we're sorting, digesting on all levels of the body-mind. Now bring yourself back to the center, and we'll go out to the side. So walk that right hand out, drop your right ear to your right shoulder, leave your left hand in your lap or wrap it behind your waist. Just feeling that delicious tug along the side of your body. Sometimes problems with maybe blockages in the stomach chi or weak stomach chi can be indicated by bloating, vomiting, of course, any pain in any areas where this meridian passes through, so front of the hip joint. Also pain in mouth or issues in the mouth, nose, teeth, eyes. On your inhale, come back up to the center. Exhale, undo your arm and then lean forward. Plant those hands. Push back slightly as you lean forward. And again, blocks can be great here. You can rest your head maybe on a block if you feel so inclined, and then your whole torso can relax. Just be sure to keep that little bit of pressure in your hands so that there's no issues in the knee. You don't want any pain in your knee here. You can always relax your arms onto the block as well, or your elbows, and set your head in your hands. It's amazing, I often say this, how relaxing the torso leads to the legs relaxing. So the more you can relax your legs, then the more we get into these meridians and into the connective tissue as well. Emotions associated with our stomach meridian and stomach energy. If there's a depletion in it, then there can be excessive worrying. When things are in harmony and flowing well, great creativity. On an inhale, slowly uncurl your way back up. Exhale when you get all the way up. We're going to undo our legs. Again, set them down. Lean back on those hands. Just take a moment, 2, 3 here to enjoy that release. Should feel fantastic. It's so important to pay attention when we come out of poses to take the time to enjoy that rebound. And then again, you can straighten those legs. Often that feels good. Point and flex, rock, or maybe you want to do some windshield wipers now that both sides are done. Put some motion back into those hip joints. And then we'll come to a nice forward bend, which is great for digestion as well. Also stimulates the kidneys. Forward bend, and gives your heart a massage. So lots of benefits there. Again, if you do have sciatica issues or tight hamstrings, even sitting your sit bones just on the edge of a quilt so you feel that slight lift and you're almost like rocking off it, it helps to tilt your pelvis forward, because we want to go forward. More than, heard a good cue from Ashtanga, is more than going down in a forward bend, you want to think about going forward, so rolling those sit bones forward. You can keep a bend in your legs in yin, not a problem. You can put a block underneath your knees if you prefer, and then they can relax more, and you might find that you come forward a little bit further. You can use your hands under your knees as well. Let your feet be nice and floppy. let your back round if it's okay for your back. But if it's not, if there's disc issues, then definitely don't round. Keep your tummy pulled in and just hinge at the top of the hips. You're just leaning forward. You can let your head go. This is a great one because you've got your shins level here. You can let your head rest on a block if you like. And again, you could always be, if you're not that far forward, you can rest your forearms on the block. Maybe your elbows go on it and your head goes in your hands again. It's amazing, again, as I often say, relax your torso, your arms, and the legs relax. So we're getting a really nice pull along the back body, but we're getting some nice compression in the front of our body, especially in the front of the hip joint. This is fantastic for that. Breathing in, breathing out. So the spleen is our primary organ of digestion in the Taoist traditions, a little different than Western. It's also the site where white blood cells trap organisms. So that's physical. Energetically, now, it's thought of as the source of life for the other organs because its job is to extract the pure essences. Remember, the stomach sends the more pure food to the spleen. So the spleen's job is extracting pure essences, pure nutritive essences from our ingested food and liquids, and then converting them to blood and chi. Blood is that different sense of thinking, that deep, quiet, steady, beneath the surface. Chi is that energetic, active energy. If there's imbalance in our spleen chi, then the whole system can be disharmonious because we're not getting enough energy supplied. When it's balanced, we feel earthy, we feel full, sensual. But then again, that imbalance, there's a lethargy, a weakness, a dullness, because the whole body-mind is not receiving enough nutrients. On an inhale, slowly uncurl your way back upright. Just sitting there for a few breaths here. Noticing, enjoying the release of that forward bend. And then coming forward onto all fours, just have a couple of dragon poses here. It's our time. So here you might want to have a quilt for extra padding under your knees if you have a thinner mat. I'm okay with a thicker one here. And again, we're going to start with our right foot forward. So put your right foot where your right hand is. Tuck your left toes under and move that left leg back. So we're feeling that nice tug in the front of that left hip joint. Hands are on either side of your foot. You can be on fingertips if you like. You can be on fists. You can cycle through different hand positions. You can be on flat hands if you like. Get that right knee into your armpit. That gives you a little extra length. If that's not enough, bring a block over so you can set your right hand on a block. You can be on 2 blocks here, not a problem. It's got very little, if anything, to do with your hands and everything to do with your legs. Try, once you've got your hands set up, try relaxing into those legs. The more you can relax, the deeper the tugging goes. So easy does it. Don't make it too intense. Now we're going to bring our right hand inside and come to low flying dragon. So for some people, just bending at the elbows is enough. Some of you bring your block inside and rest your forearms on the block like so. Or you might want to, some of you can be on your, right down on your mat. Back up a bit there. Here you can keep your head in line, or you might find that stacking fists, you can rest your forehead on your stacked hands. And that can also help to relax into your torso, relax into the legs. Use your ocean breath if you like here. That can help a lot with calming. That's that HA sound in the back of the throat. Do one more this morning. Come back up onto your hands. Use your toes here and creep your right leg forward. So keep going. Use it as much as you can. Your toes, once you get to a certain point, bring your right hand on the outside so you're nice and stable again. Lift up through the toes and push through the heel. And we're coming into dragon splits, your version. You're supporting yourself on your hands. Now here you've got a very strong sensation tugging in the front of your back leg. So the front of your left hip. Pressure right down the center of that leg. And then in the extended leg, the right leg, you've got lots of sensation tugging up the back of that leg. So the back of the front leg and the front of the back leg. Now to come out safely from splits, you can let yourself go to one side. You can lift back up and pull that leg back in if you like. Just easing yourself back up. However you've come out, you come to all fours and stay still. Dragon splits is always very intense, so you should get a lovely warmth flood through the hips, the legs, even into the low back perhaps. Should feel fantastic. You've just done some lovely deep tissue massage on yourself, so enjoy it. And then when you're ready, push up into a downward facing dog. Walk the dog a little bit, good for the hamstrings here. High on all 10 toes, give them a good bend. Send your hamstring or your heels down for your hamstrings. Hips are high and back. Sink down onto your knees and back to child's pose, just for a little regrouping here before we do the other side. Enjoying that, maybe still the residual pulsing or warmth from letting go there of that dragon. And then when you're ready, come forward onto all fours and we'll set up for the other side now. So we'll put our left foot where the left hand is. Help it forward if you need to. Tuck your right toes under and move that right leg back. Just till you feel that little bit of splits feeling. Now you know what's coming though. So the front leg is getting a little bit of, or the extended leg, sorry, is getting that pull through the front of the right hip joint and right down the center of the thigh, probably feeling some sensation to the inside line of the leg as well, from the groin of that extended right leg. And then we've got that strong compression going on in the left hip joint. Steady breathing. spleen depletion, we may feel ungrounded as well. It controls digestion and stores our intention or our determination. And then from here we'll come to low flying dragon. So bring your left hand inside. Bring that block over, resting your forearms on the block, or you're coming down onto your mat, resting your forearms there. Stack your fists for your head to rest on if you like. Use your ocean breath here. The sound of it can help calm you, give you something to focus on in pretty intense poses. Emotionally, when our spleen chi is in harmony, we have that sense of being at home inside ourselves and we feel grounded. We can take in nourishment on all levels of the body, mind, spirit. And then coming back up onto your hands, start to use your toes again like we did before. Creeping that leg out in front of you. And then bring your left hand on the outside so you're on either side of that leg. Lift up through the heel and push through the heel, just coming into the dragon splits on the left side. So now we've got strong sensations coming up the back of our front leg. Very strong sensations down the front of our extended right leg. Ride that breath. Ocean breath is very helpful here. Lots going on in the groin and in the front of the hip joints here. Again, coming out safely for you. You might want to lift up a little bit and then pull that front leg in. Either lean to the side or lift that leg all the way back. Ending up on all fours. And just being still after those intense poses. So you can truly enjoy that warmth, coolness, buzzing, flooding into your pelvis, your hip joints, legs. Dragons are intense, but oh, they feel fantastic when you come out of them. And then tucking your toes under, so putting a little bit of muscle work in to those legs again. Downward facing dog, walking the dog. Come high on all 10 toes again. Give those toes a good bend. Maybe crunch your toes like you got pebbles under them as well. Send those heels down. Good for the hamstrings. Feel the length of your body from your fingertips to your heels. All up your spine and down the back of your legs. And then when you're ready, drop your knees down and come back to child's pose. And then just moving slowly, come forward and make your way down onto your backs. Arms are going to come out to a T here. Bend in both of your legs. Drop them slowly over to the right. Maybe scooting your right hip under a little bit. You can reach down with your right hand and rest your fingers in the pit of the knee if you like. Turn your head if it's okay for your neck and look out to the outstretched left hand. And just relax your legs, relax your torso. If you feel like you'd like a little bit deeper of a spinal twist here at the end, straighten out your bottom leg. Maybe lift and scoot that hip back again a little bit more. You can rest something under this knee if you like. relaxing into your mat. Still keeping your yogic breath going. But we want to release tension in our spine with this twist, so we don't want to do anything active here. Inhale your knees back up to the center. Plant your feet, push into them so you realign your hips. And then drop your hips slowly over to the left. Your knees slowly over to the left. Turning your head to the outstretched right hand. And if you did the one knee reclining twist on the first side, then take the time now to slightly lift up, scoot that hip back a little bit. You can reach down again or not, it's up to you. Breathing in, breathing out. Twists are helping to restore the equilibrium within your nervous system, so enjoy. They should feel wonderful. You should feel wonderful after these final spinal twists. On an inhale, bring your knees back to the center. Plant those foot soles, lift your hips off your mat to realign your spine, and bring your knees into your chest, wrap your arms around your shins, give yourself a hug. Rock over that spine, massaging. Just take as long as you want. And when you're ready, let those legs float on down. You can take final Shavasana with the legs straight or bent. Put something under the knees if you like to support them. It's easier on your low back. Arms are by your sides, palms up or down. Shrug your shoulders up to your ears and then let them slide down your back away from your ears. Tuck your chin in slightly. That'll lengthen the back of the neck. Take in a deep breath. Let it go with a sigh. Let's do that one more time. Deep breath in. Let go. Stay here for another 2-3 minutes, letting your body absorb the benefits of this practice, letting your breath be whatever it wants to be. Thank you so much again for being here with me. The light in me honors the light in each one of you. Namaste. I'll see you next Tuesday, 7 o'clock. Have a wonderful Thursday.